Welcome back, everyone. This is Akinar here with more Blueprints, where last time we completed day 4. It was very exciting. We made a good bit of progress, and we managed to find an antechamber lever. We opened one of the doors leading into the antechamber. However, we were not able to actually get to that door. We just ran a little bit short on keys and steps, and the run just didn't come together for us. So we're going to try and see if we can get both of those things to happen at once. Get the antechamber open and actually get to it. But of course, the ultimate objective is, well, the ultimate objective is room 46, but the short-term objective is still to gather as much information as possible. We need to uncover as many bits of this mystery that is regarding the mansion in room 46, but we also need to explore as many rooms as we can and try to get some of these more unusual or rare rooms to appear. So why don't we get it started? Let's jump in here to day 5 and we'll hit the ground running, because another thing that was great about the end of that I'm just remembering, the end of our day 4 was we drafted a sauna. So we are starting today with 20 extra steps. So hopefully we won't feel the pinch as much navigating around as we did at the end of day 4. We'll see how it goes here. This game is just, I'm having so much fun with this amazing video game because the decisions to be made are so much fun. And still, the very first room here always confronts you. You're already confronted with several decisions, not just 3 doors to choose from, but also, do we go outside and draft the outer room? I think I am going to do that again, but I am starting to get the sense that it might be suboptimal to draft the outer room immediately. That maybe the better play is to wait until you've drafted the blueprints a little bit more, and hopefully, if you get lucky, you get the garage on the west-hand side and you find a way outside that's a more steps-efficient path to get back to the outer room. Something like that. However, we are starting the day with 70 steps, so I think we're going to go outside and do that drafting here in just a moment. The first thing I am going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of note-taking here with the room directory. So give me just a moment here to update some of my screenshots for my notes. Okay, there we go. I just wanted to go through and screenshot everything that I've done so far, because one of the things that I like to do in between runs is do some studying and going over my notes and various things. But I also noticed that the game itself does not have a way for you to look at this room directory when you are in between runs. Like, it would be kind of like, because one of the big downsides of so far as from what I've seen is you cannot save and quit when you are in the middle of a run. You are forced to abandon that day, and you can't just quit the program and come back into that same day. You're forced to move on to the next day, and that feels, maybe that's a conscious design decision, but if I was going to make one big change to the game, that would be it. Give me the ability to save and quit. If I need to, because especially for a player like me, my run might take a while, and I don't necessarily always have the time to sit down and record, not just record, but play the game all the way through. And also, not just that, but I like the ability to be able to look at the room directory and look at these details of, how rare a certain bedroom is, or which ones cost gems and all these different things as I'm learning the game. So a small complaint, but something that it would be nice if there were that feature in the game. So with that said, let's go ahead and get our day started by heading out, and we will, off the bat, draft once again this room, the outer room. That's what it's called, right? And we'll see what we get here. This could be, if we get the hobble this time, maybe that's a good option for us. We don't see it offered here. We do have a new option, though. The shrine is the first time we are seeing this. Make an offering, receive a blessing. Okay, it looks like that is probably going to be something that requires coins. It sure looks like the little statue there that you're going to be offering to. is holding a coin. So we need some gold in order to make that happen. The tool shed, we could just go ahead and start right off the bat with. That feels like that would be a very solid pick. And then we have the root cellar. Rooms in your house will be more likely to contain dig spots today. The root cellar could have more upside, but it is potentially riskier. The shrine feels like we would have to come back here later. The tool shed is the least restrictive. It just gives us our items, and then we have them. With that said, we have 20 extra steps today. Coming back outside may not be that big of an issue. So what do I want to do here? This is also another spot where it would be potentially nice to look at your room directory. Like, I don't think I can't pause the game as far as I know. The escape key gives me this message, and there's, as far as I can tell so far, this is a piece of information that if you do want to leave it in the comments and let me know. Is there a way to access your room directory when you are on the draft screen? But perhaps this is also another maybe conscious design choice that the devs have made to say, you know what, that information is going to be off limits when you are drafting. So I don't know. It just would be nice to have. It would be nice to be able to have that pouring over all the information that you have available to you, theoretically at least. Because we have these extra steps, I think I want to check out the shrine. We should be able to make it back out to the shrine. We just don't know how many coins. Would it just be a single coin to receive a blessing? But I'm curious to see what this is going to offer us. The special items, I'm also curious to. I'm sure there's more than just the. We didn't even get to use the special items that we got before. I think one was like a battery, and the other one was a wrench, and I don't even remember what that one did. But I'm gonna go with the shrine. Let's check this one out. And we'll read about it first and foremost. We'll do do a little bit of lore gathering here. A sacred silence permeates this candlelit cavern, whose flickering lights add to the holy aura shining down upon a meditative statue. His stone hands present forth a stone bowl to the devout pilgrim who may wish to make an offering of gold. Okay, let's take a look. It does cost us another step to go inside, but a very lovely, peaceful shrine awaits us. And maybe we don't even want to go anywhere. You know, it's so peaceful in here. Maybe we don't even want to leave. Okay, I was hoping we would get some sort of a prompt explaining what's going on here. Make an offering. Making an offering of gold may result in the bestowal of a beneficial blessing that will last for several days. Interesting. So we can choose. I was wondering if it was going to just be like a single coin, or would they actually give you a choice of how many you want to donate? This could be something, this could be a gold sink, right? At the end of our day, if we really don't want anything, or we still have gold left over and we haven't gotten any shops, or whatever the case may be, our spare gold that otherwise is going to go to waste, this is a way for us to spend it. Cool. Anxious, curious to find out what that's going to give us, and it will maybe give a little direction to our draft in that we may not prioritize shops as much. We may want to say, you know what, let's hoard as much gold as possible and just dump it all in the shrine. Could be a way to go. We shall find out. This game is just, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this game is so much fun. Okay, now the next choice. What direction do we go? I think the more that I think about the overall drafting methodology, it does feel like we had that one day where we tried to get directly to the antechamber. And it really seems like you really need to know what you're doing if you're trying to get directly to the antechamber. And I still feel like we are so far from knowing exactly what we're doing. And so weaving our way through each rank and trying to fill out each rank as much as possible as we go feels correct. So I think we're going to start by going to the right. And I think I might also start, we'll see what we get here, and then we can, let's just draft, and then we'll decide how we want to progress things. So we're offered we have the Nook, the pantry, and the hallway, which is nice. The hallway is set up here to give us access to both directions. So I think this feels like a very nice hallway to pick. And then I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead and step into the hallway and draft the bottom right corner. And if we get a dead end there, or if we get an elbow, that's fine. But I think what I'm going to try to do here is draft all the way to the right, and then actually come back to draft all the way to the left. The draft is going to, you know, bob and weave. There's going to be choices to be made, and we may not get we're obviously not always going to get the perfect offering. But in general, I'm going to try to fill out each rank as we go before we progress on to a new rank. That just, whether it is, you know, progressing in ranks opens up new options in your draft pool, and you maybe start to dilute the pool from what could be better to have earlier in the game. It feels, so far, based on my noob experience, staying on your staying in your lane or staying at your rank as long as possible feels like it might be the right way to go. So let's pick the hallway. Obligatory screenshots of sketches that probably don't matter, but they might. We get our key and we get our message that's always here. These red and blue messages so far seem to always be the same. And this and as far as we know, the red ones are a lie. Screw you, Cirrus. But yeah, we're gonna go to the right and see what we get. We could go ahead here and take the guest bedroom. We could also take the pantry because now we have a shrine. The pantry would give us more steps as well, and it would give us another entryway into rank 2. I think maybe I'll lean toward the pantry, but at the same time, getting the parlor, that would there's a likelihood that we get gems from that. So I think for me, it's between the pantry and the parlor. This could be an important decision point because it does. For any draft in the early game, deciding when you are going to grab your first gems could be a big deal, because it feels as soon as the game thinks you have access to gems, it's going to start giving you rooms that you can spend those gems on. So it could be better to wait as long as possible to start collecting gems. So why don't we try to do that this run? Let's prioritize. I mean, we're going to see, every choice is going to be different, but in this case, I like taking the pantry over the parlor because we have a shrine, and we're going to maybe try to prioritize holding off on gem opportunities. Obviously, if we get a wine cellar or something that gives us 3 gems, something that's a rare opportunity, that may change things. But the more common rooms like parlor, I think in this case, we'll take the pantry. And I will go ahead and take the coins now? Question mark? Let's take the coins now. It's just a couple extra steps. We get our apple to refund those couple extra steps. We check for any other potential items. Snap our sketches and move back to the other side of rank 1 and see what we get to the left. Okay, so now we could do what we did in the previous day. I think we also drafted a den to the left of the entrance hall. It feels like such a waste to use the corridor this early on, but they do. It is a commonplace offering. So the other option is to take the Nook and then go ahead and draft up to rank 2 and see if you can fill in, you know, move to the left and try to fill in the bottom left corner, and then weave your way back over to the right-hand side through rank 2. We do already have 1 key. It also may not be a good idea to hold off on getting gems. Like, you know, this could be a super overthinking optimization that actually is not helping you at all. Because if we draft the den here, we now have the chance to get an observatory in the bottom left, or a security room, or, you know, the access to gems here is, I'm just thinking about all those times where I've popped open a draft, and I have a room, or even 2 rooms, that require gems, and I have none. And I hate those moments. I think the keeping it simple choice, though, says, take the den, it gives you 2 ways out, and it gives you a gem. Let's do it. And let's give it a look here. We get our yellow gem. I think it was yellow last time. I feel like the gem colors are randomized, but maybe they are not as random as I think. It just depends on what room you're in. Who the heck knows? I need a crowbar. I want this crowbar. Can I get this crowbar so I can break those boxes out in the... We haven't... Oh, there is a trunk here. I have not gone back to that tunnel. We never made it back with the sledgehammer to try to break some boxes. But it wouldn't be so bad to have a sledgehammer here to open this trunk. However, we do have a key. So the early key here and opening the trunk, we don't have to open up the trunk necessarily right away. We have a gem, so we could go ahead and draft here and be able to afford any 1-cost gem room that we get. The nursery is another one that wouldn't be a bad thing to get early on in your draft, even though we have extra steps today. But I think in this case, let's go ahead and draft first, because then we can look through this. The decision-making process is going to be so much fun with this game. Because you can look through the room potentially to see if there's other things in there. Okay, let's draft. We do end up getting the Nook, but we could also take the storehouse. Sorry, the storeroom. The Nook would give us another way up into the into level 2, but we already have every single room on this rank that is able to get to rank 2. So this would not be a terrible storeroom. It would replace, and it gets us a coin as well to go in our shrine. I feel like this is actually a storeroom. Putting a dead end down in the corner feels like the way to go. Yeah, now that we're going to start getting offered gem rooms, we might as well start getting gems. Now that we've opened the floodgates, let's get gems, let's get coins, let's get all the things, and take our storeroom. And then let's go ahead and open this. Well, I mean, we're going to come right back out. We're going to come right back out. So we don't need that chest open yet, do we? Unless there's a magnet. We're going to open the chest. Let's just open it. Don't overthink it. Just open your chest. And you get 2 keys. Oh my God. Sometimes you just straight up insta-profit. Absolutely no downside even sometimes with these chests. So chests can contain gems. They can contain keys. They can contain special keys. I haven't quite taken notes yet on all of the things that the chests... I'm going to start doing that here and compiling our results. Everything that we have seen so far in these trunks. That's going to be the kind of notes that are going to be in my one big Google Doc here, so I can get an idea and have all those results compiled in one place. Okay, so we have now a pretty good early helping of resources. Let's draft upward from the den, and we'll see if we'll see what we get from there. Okay, I think we'll take the bedroom here, and we do leave a space open to the left in rank 2, but we might be able to hit that when we come back to the left through rank 3, hopefully. So this feels like an okay place to take the bedroom. This would be an early commissary, and again, we have that, we have the shrine outside. I don't know if we want to save all of our coins for the shrine, but the bedroom here feels okay to get us headed in through the rest of rank 2 and holding off on the corridor to make use of that. I don't know at what point the corridor does become... I'm gonna have to... I haven't... Another thing that's gonna be part of my notes is, when do we start seeing locked doors most commonly? We know we're not seeing them for a little while still, so let's take the bedroom here and take a look at what we got. No trunk in here, but there are some coins up here. No sleeping mask, but hey, Now, it does make me wonder. When I see this, when I see like the random coins here, I do wonder to myself, is that being influenced at all by the fact that we drafted a shrine? Are coins more likely to appear as a random item? Question mark. Don't tell me, of course. Oh, okay. I'm noticing a couple things looking at this photo again here. I think I want to say this is Mary. I'm going to check my notes for the archives, the book that we, or the news article that we saw in the archives that told us about the Red Prince. If we look at, oh, I need to zoom in here 1 second. The picture is not really, it's not a good close-up picture in the newspaper articles, but whoever this may be, I think there are actually 2 different women that we've seen in various photographs throughout the estate. There is another woman that has the Cindy Crawford mole. This lady does not. And when you look closely, more closely at their pictures, now that I've had a little time to digest, this is clearly a different woman. Just even without the mole, I think the facial features and everything, you can tell it is a different person. So there are, we still got to figure out who these people are. I don't think we know for sure yet. One of them is probably our mother. But another detail that I'm noticing is this necklace. I had not seen this necklace before, but the necklace, it's partially hidden, but it looks like a crescent moon. Some might even say a rogue moon. That's an interesting detail I hadn't seen before. Okie doke. Okay, we are drafting to the right. I think, yep, let's go and just draft to the right. Work our way across rank 2. We could take the security room here, and I think that's what I want to do. I would like the security room. I have been curious to get back there to see whether our settings are persistent. That's a question that I wanted to get answered, and I might just draft on the basis of curiosity alone. But let me look at my notes and see what else is potentially in the... Right, we get this estate inventory with the security room, which can be nice to check when you've spread a bunch of stuff around the house. Don't love the idea of drafting a chapel right here in the middle of things. However, I'm noticing, yeah, this is, okay, the orientation here, they are not, everything is aligned with our east-facing doorway here. And so the chapel, yeah, I really don't want to draft the chapel then because that takes us up to rank 3. And it loses us coins. We don't want to lose coins. So I think it's between the spare room and the security. The security is, I want to satisfy my curiosity, but there really isn't anything else immediately in security that benefits us, is there? Unless there is, you know, a random item, like if there were a key card in there or something. But it might be better to just hold on to our gems for now. I think I'm actually going to do that because the more I think about it, I would just be trying to satisfy my curiosity and nothing else, and that can wait. Let's hold on to our gems and draft the spare room here. Spare room it is. No coins on the ground. I need coins for the shrine. Gimme, gimme. Okay, we move forward. And there is an observatory. That's kind of what I was also thinking to myself, like, if I spend a gem here, that's one less gem that I could be using for an observatory. Now, the observatory would... unfortunately, none of these options connect us directly back to the entrance hall. So... Fortunately, we would be going through the bedroom if we do need to connect ourselves back to the entrance hall. Well, I mean, we do want to at some point, right? Or we find our way out through the garage. But if we don't get that, we want at some point to come through the entrance hall and be able to, well, in the case of the observatory here, we're going to be getting 2 stars. And if my memory serves me, we get the twin or the twins or something is our constellation for 2 stars. and that puts 2 trunks in the entrance hall. So yeah, we would definitely want to be... Maybe we do that. Maybe we actually draft the observatory, get our 2 trunks, and go back to the entrance hall, and then draft up through the pantry-way. We would be hoping to, not get super unlucky, but the corridor is in the pool, and even though spare room is not, the hallway is not as well, but we would be on the east side, so we could theoretically get the east wing hall. And if worst comes to worst, if we dead end ourselves out through the pantry-way, we can still come back through the observatory and hopefully get to rank 3. Let's go with the observatory. And the other great thing about the observatory is it is permanent progress across your runs. So that feels really good to get that. And who knows, there might be, I think we had a key in here before? Or no, there was a key that was spread, is what happened. Yeah, there it is, the twins. 2 trunks added to the entrance hall. Let's see about getting those. I'll snap my sketches, as I always do. And double check for any... We can spin our globes. Do all the globe spinning for good luck, I guess. And then we get our... We've already been granted our star. So do we even... Apparently we don't even need to adjust the telescope. We're ready to go. The last time, or the first time we were in here, we had to move it around into the right spot. But apparently it's ready. And then we click the stars, right? The twins, there it is. Okay. And we even have the keys to open those chests. Amazing. Sweet. Okay, so let us, we'll open at least one of them. I'm just thinking if I wanted to use all of my keys here, because we definitely, at the end of last run, we were running a little bit short on keys. Okay. We will open at least one of them. Oh my goodness. Dude, we got a pair of ivory dice. That, I think, I might have underrated just how important something like the mailroom can be, because that run was so much stronger in no small part because we had 2 rerolls. So the pair of ivory dice there and 4 coins, are you kidding me? That was an amazing trunk. I wonder if the trunks from the observatory are even better. Obviously, don't tell me. But it does make me kind of want to open the next chest. We still have the Nook to get us another key early on here, although I wouldn't want to get the Nook out of the pantry. I do also love that the observatory has added this amazing music. I wonder if there is a a jukebox feature or something that we can unlock at some point, and we'll be able to select which theme we want to have playing while our run is going along here. I wouldn't mind this one at all. Just keep the observatory going the entire time. Okay, so if we do draft from the pantry, we would be hoping for... What would we be hoping for that's left? Because I don't think... There's a lot of these rooms that I don't think we can draft this early. I feel pretty certain that there's a rank limitation with quite a few of these, and they are not going to become active until later in the run. We would be banking on, like, Corridor is basically it, along with East Wing Hall. So, like, we could, we could say to ourselves, let's just, we've got extra steps here. We're getting some back when we go through the bedroom. We don't have to draft out through the pantry, or if we do, it's just, we could make it a dead end. But I just kind of don't, like, it is, the steps add up. You think it's only 2 rooms, but if you think about, okay, if we're making this a dead end here, like the closet or something that has a couple items, that's still going to be 6 steps total to get back. Well, I guess 5. You go to the hallway, pantry, it would be, but then you come back to the entrance hall. So it's like you've lost 6 steps in the process, have you not? But at the same time, we started the day with 20 extra steps. So, man, choices, choices, choices. So much overthinking to be done. When you count it out, it's actually the same amount of steps to get to the observatory from here, isn't it? Because of the bedroom. The bedroom and this -2, instead of taking 4 steps to get to the observatory, you're only taking 2 steps. It's literally the exact same amount of steps. So why would we ever go back to the pantry and limit our options? We should definitely go back to the observatory, shouldn't we? The only little min-max thing we would be opening up rank 3. And maybe we wouldn't want to have access to rank 3 rooms yet, if that is a thing. But dead-ending ourselves at the pantry, or picking, a room like the East Hall wing that has more openings that you're not using, it feels like a suboptimal choice here. So let's open this chest and head back to the observatory and draft from there. Dude, 3 keys? Are you kidding me? Rewarded so hard. So fucking hard. Should I ever doubt myself about opening a trunk again? God damn. Okay, we head back to the observatory, feeling good about our choices so far, I think. And we draft from here. Okay, now I might take the chapel. It's going to cost us some coins potentially, but I want to have options here. I want to be able to draft out to the right and then maybe even come back and I'll have to pay the 2 coins. But I think that it may be the right move. The more options here I think is worth paying the extra cost. The parlor could get us gems, but it just cuts us off. It cuts off our path. But maybe I shouldn't be so worried about using every last square inch of the map. In this case, I will. I'm going to take the chapel. My brain likes a fully utilized floor plan too much. Got to check for anything on these pews. But I think if we look at the drafting strategy, it tells us that there are seldom extra items. Doesn't say never, so it may still be worth looking. We're going to go to the right first and try to fill out that last bit of rank 1. If it'll let us. It may not let us here. It is actually not going to let us. So, this might be a spot for us to take the closet. We're pretty healthy on keys, and we could kind of use... The items could include keys, could include gems, could include anything. And I kind of am okay. Well, am I okay with a dead end here? Because theoretically, then we are only leaving ourselves the left passageway out of the chapel. However, we have 2 dice to reroll. We could also take a kitchen here if we're worried about running out of steps, which so far we're not. So I think it's actually between the closet and the Nook. Do I want to take yet another key and give myself the possibility to draft into rank 4? Or I think what I would rather do is not worry about drafting to rank 4 from here and bank on getting there through the left door in the chapel. Somehow, some way, with 2 dice in the bag, just in case. Let's take the closet. And we end up with another die. Goddamn. And another gem. That's good. 2 gems makes me feel a lot better than 1 gem, that's for sure. It's better than 1 gem. Imagine that. Not that we're necessarily going to be offered the 2 gem rooms yet. I don't know that it... I think there might be a rank requirement with some of the two gem rooms that you wouldn't see those until later in the estate. But let's draft to the left. I swear I clicked my mouse. I don't know why that first one didn't register. Okay, all right. So this is one where if we want to keep drafting, we have to either take the corridor or use one of our dice here. And I might use one of my dice because I don't love using the corridor in this spot. I would want to have, maybe I should have checked my draft options here. I think I might peek at my screenshots that I took just at the beginning of the episode to kind of remind myself of the different floors, the different floor plans that are still in the pool. The more I think about it, though, I think I probably shouldn't be greedy here. I think I'm overvaluing, potentially overvaluing, especially when we have 4 keys, the effect of the corridor. And there are actually not that many in the early stages here. The straight through, we've used the spare room, we've used the hallway, we've used the den. So there aren't that many straight through rooms left, or rooms that would even lead us to rank 4. So re-rolling here actually feels not super likely to get us better results here. I think I'll take the corridor. It's perfectly fine, and we still have 3 dice available if worst comes to worst on the next set of rolls. So let's do that in this case, even though I don't love it. But let's value our dice a little bit more, and we'll see what happens. Okay, and what do we get on the other side of the corridor? Aha. Parlor, gymnasium, passageway. Doesn't feel like an amazing passageway, but it's pretty decent. It is decent, but it is our last 2 gems. And it's probably the best pick here is probably just the parlor. The gym is not terrible. For a second I was thinking of the weight room. The gym is much better than the weight room because you only lose 2 steps whenever you enter the gymnasium. However, at some point, if we are meant to backtrack, we haven't given ourselves a fantastic, if we pick the gymnasium, we've not given ourselves a fantastic backtracking to the entrance hall. I think the parlor makes the better choice for that. Is the better choice for that because it keeps you a little more, it doesn't get you all the way across rank 3, but it does, when you're coming back from the later ranks, it will be a little bit easier on the step counter, and you don't have to go through a gymnasium as well. It'll be a little bit easier to get back to the front. And we might pick up some more gems in the process. So here we'll pick the parlor, and we might leave a blank space or 2 on the left-hand side as a result. We'll see how that goes. Let's take the parlor, though. This is really interesting because, a pure strategy of trying to go all the way left and all the way right, or going all the way back in one direction once you've gone the other way, you might want to. It might have been better for us to save a room like the den, because, here the den would have been much better than the parlor. So, there's only a few of these rooms, actually. It feels like in the early stages, there are a lot more, dead ends or elbow rooms that are, you might want to hold on to these things like the hallway for these later ranks. It's so many decision points to think about. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to drive myself crazy. We have an item in here. Look at this, the car keys, I think. Awesome. So now we would love to find the garage again, because I believe this got us a set. I think it got us an upgrade disc the last time. So that's an awesome pickup there. Good. The parlor can contain the car keys. Where did we get the car keys before? I do not remember that at the moment. I haven't taken notes on that yet. Okay, let's go through our boxes here. There are 4 boxes in this room. All right, that one's false, so we've satisfied our false constraint. There is only 1 box in this room, also false. So we have not yet satisfied our true constraint, so that must mean that this statement is true. The gems are in the true box. Boom. One of these times I am definitely, the more days that we cross off of our calendar. The farther we get into this game, the more I might take for granted this logic game in the parlor, and I need to be careful about that because I feel like one of these times I'm just going to slip up and make a choice that is I'm going to make the obviously wrong choice, and in retrospect, I'm going to be sad. The drawing room here looks pretty nice. The drawing room looks like a good one. The courtyard is also okay, but I kind of like the idea of having an option to go left and right, as well as we can redraw, and potentially maybe even test out my question mark about whether you can redraw multiple times off of the drawing room and its ability. Do we have any special synergies with the courtyard? We did not draft the room out in the outer room. I don't remember what it was, but it was the green room there that synergized with courtyards and other green rooms. So the drawing room seems like a perfectly fine choice here. Let's take that. And we already grabbed our car keys, and so we are heading in and looking for any items that might be laying around. Obligatory sketch snap. Still can't phone a friend. And I don't see any other items laying around. We don't have a safe. Did we try the false safe combination on this safe? I don't know if we did or not, but it's a safe combo that's on a red note, so it shouldn't work on any of them, right? But we might as well still try because it's the only code we have to go on. Now I wonder, that safe code that we did get from the conference room, could it be that the digits are incorrect, but just in the wrong order? Maybe it's the right digits, but they've been put in the wrong order. Possibly. Which direction do we want to go? Let's try drafting to the left and see if it will let us draft downwards. Or even better, if we had like the West Wing Hall. If we get the West Wing Hall offered here, that might be like the optimal choice. Yeah. Let's aim for that, and we might even like re-roll if we don't get the West Wing. We do get the garage. We get the garage, and maybe we shouldn't be greedy and we just take the garage. Even though it dead ends us in this direction, we still have the other side of the drawing room, and we have so many re-rolls. The 3 keys is fantastic, as well as the fact that we've got the car keys. That's just too good, isn't it? The terrace, green rooms do not cost gems to draft. It would be, I don't think I would want to take the terrace here. That's not a strong enough effect for me to have the fact that we don't have any way to navigate out of this room. The garage is a dead end, quote unquote. I did notice looking through the room directory that it has the same category I hadn't noticed before as the secret passage. Dead end in scare quotes. I think I take the garage here, even though it kind of cuts us off from these potential rooms below us. This is too good here, right? It's too good. You take the garage. You take it, and we can't open the garage right now, can we? So that gets reset, it looks like. So, but the utility room is not too uncommon of an offering. So we may be able to get outside and save ourselves some steps in getting to the shrine. Oh, and of course, we get our 3 keys. Duh, that's right there. Even though the garage door doesn't work, but we still get the 3 keys. We still get to check in the driver's side to see if anything's different here, but I'm presuming that the note is going to be the same as it was before. I'm not really anywhere yet in terms of figuring out any sort of personal connections, like all these different names that we've got. I'm gonna just for now keep compiling notes on names like Denny and Christoph and work on piecing that all together later on. Oh boy. We got another secret garden key, didn't we? The key to the secret garden. Okay. Now, obviously, one thing we might try to prioritize would be the cloister. The cloister now becomes Yeah, this is a covered walk and colonnade surrounding an enclosed and seemingly inaccessible garden. Huh. Seemingly inaccessible garden. Is this what we want now? Is this how we access the garden? Either we prioritize the cloister or we prioritize the coat check. Because now this is an item that would be very nice to have the coat check for. Because we just don't know when we need it yet. But having it there in the coat check for when you do need it feels like that's what we tried to do on the day that we got this previously. We just ran out of steps. We'll see if that's in the cards for us this time. And we do get another large battery pack, which I believe we had before. We just we haven't had any contraptions yet that are battery powered. Maybe we need the workshop for that. It does say provides juice to contraptions made in the workshop. There we go. I think maybe I must have read that and it gave me that idea. Okay, so there we go. We've got plenty of keys. We're good on that front. And now it's time to draft in the other direction. And we have so many rerolls if we need them. I still don't know whether we can get multiple rerolls just from the drawing room. Oh, wait a second. You could use your special key on one of these doors? We could use the secret garden key here? Wait, what? What? The key to the secret garden. Does it mean, is it telling me that the garden, I think what it's telling me, I could be wrong. Based on what I know so far, though, it feels like this key is what actually activates the cloister. Activates is not the right word. If you unlock a door, similar to how we unlocked a door with the silver key, and it said it was more likely to have like, it was going to like maximize the doors that were available or something. It had an effect on that particular draft pool. I think the secret garden key might have that same effect by guaranteeing that the cloister shows up in your draft. If that's the case, that would be a terrible move to do that here for two reasons. The main one is that we can't afford it. We need 3 gems. But also, I think it would be, it's optimal if you can place those 3 unused exits you want those 3 doors leading out of the cloister to connect to something. And we have no door going into the corridor from this direction. So we just use a normal key. But okay, I thought we were going to like take it somewhere, somewhere in the estate, perhaps outside, and use that key. But it's a special key like the silver key. We are learning. There's our code check. There's our code check. Don't think we want it here. And I'm not sure that I want to take the Nook. Because that I don't want to go into rank 5 just yet. I feel like I could get I want something better. And we have plenty of rerolls here. I don't like these are not the items I'm looking for. So I'm going to redraw. Huh. I didn't exactly get rewarded. The gymnasium still sucks. I still don't want the gym. Not in this spot. Do I roll again? I might roll again, because I also don't want the boudoir. Could it get worse than this? Could the results actually get worse? It can always get worse, can't it? But now we are on rank 4, so we should have more options open to us. We've got 3 dice here. I'm going to go ahead and re-roll. 2 re-rolls on 1 draft does feel a little bad, but this is what you have them for. Because you want to get better options. We still are not getting fantastic options here. Okay. Yeah. Do we take the kitchen? I think I take the kitchen because I don't want to use the dining room here. Again, the door out of the right of the dining room is not being utilized. I hate that feeling of putting a door into a dead end just feels so bad. In some cases, you have to do it. But in this case, the kitchen, it gets us more steps, but only if we spend coins, and we want to save coins for the shrine. And we also want to save gems for potentially getting to the cloister. Ah, this is tough. The other option is reroll again. We still have 2 dice. I mean, it would probably be pretty silly of me to use another redraw here at rank 4 on this. I should probably just bite the bullet and take the kitchen. We've got a pretty centrally placed shop for if and when we do need steps. It does cost us a gem, and we're like, I'm just thinking with that secret garden key, we don't have to use it, right? We can always stash it away in the coat check. We don't have to use it this run. So, because especially when we have 6 keys, it's like, maybe this is not the run to use this secret garden. It's not a green room run. So hold on to it for now and don't worry about it. Use the gem that you've got, draft the kitchen, and move on with your life. Don't stress about it, man. We're definitely not desperate for steps at the moment. We'll take a look at the menu, though, so we know what the main course is, which is today a new one, wood-fired pizza. So this is the 3rd different main course that we've had now, and the wood-fired pizza is... Oh! It gets you plus 20 steps, plus an additional 10 steps if you have a furnace in your house. I get it. Oh, God. The furnace is rare, I think, so we'll see about that. I am noticing for the first time that tomato soup is being offered. Okay, so instead of bacon and eggs, we could get tomato soup, which gives us plus 5 for every red room in your house. Oh, that's why it synergizes with red rooms. Huh. Well, do we have an incentive now to draft red rooms, huh? We have, man, we passed up on that gymnasium once too many. Okay, so the kitchen is very red room themed. I wonder if those two go together. When you get the wood-fired pizza offered, you also get tomato soup. Very, very interesting. So that is a decision point now. Potential way of swaying our draft in the favor of things like the weight room. I still, the gym as well. I still don't know that I would take the weight room at this point. 45 steps, cutting that in half is still a bit too steep, I think. It's fascinating, though, that the water settings are consistent or persistent over the course of time. All right, there's really only... We actually only have this one option, right? So this is why it is important for us to save our dice, because our draft has not really opened up. Now, I've made some choices that maybe I didn't have to, and you know, I maybe didn't leave myself as open as I should. There will be a point here where reviewing these choices will probably be an important point to be addressed. But for now, oh God, man, I'm getting cut off. I'm getting cut off too often here. I'm going to take the Nook here, I think. I'm going to take the Nook. I don't really need the key, but I don't want to use a die here when it is giving me a path out into a fairly open area. And if we just get lucky and get the right set of rooms, all of a sudden our draft is going to be well open to us again. So let's hold on to those dice until we really, really desperately need them, right? I think that makes the most sense. And it also keeps us moving forward. Take our key. Anything else to find? Doesn't look like it. There is a rook, notably. The chess piece in this makes sense. A rook for the Nook. They do love their little rhymes and wordplay, don't they? Okay, draft again. We go again. Huh. The billiard room is not terrible because it likely gets us gems. Does it? I feel like the puzzle games, the parlor is very likely to get you gems, but I don't remember exactly what we've gotten from the billiard room so far. Need to take notes on that. Oh, but we do have the workshop. I don't think we actually have any... Never mind. We have both car keys and a battery pack, but I don't see how we would combine any of that. Now, we do have the... what am I saying? What am I thinking here? The workshop we could utilize later if we pick up more items. But, if we draft the billiard room, then we would need, in order to continue to the right, we would need something like the Nook, which we've just used. No, I take that back. The Nook would go the wrong way. We would need something like the kitchen. We'd have to get a commissary, or what other elbow rooms would we have? Yeah, the casino, but that one we haven't had offered yet. I don't even know if it's offered at this rank. Maybe they would rotate the Nook in the correct direction for us, but we don't have it. We don't, these elbow rooms that we have. We've drafted so many of them. There's not many of them left in our pool. So it's kind of feeling like I might have closed myself in by not... I used so many options in the early game, like the hallway and the den, that I didn't leave enough of those to open up the house later in the draft. Dare I use a die in this situation? What would I be looking for if I'm re-rolling? We could actually go for several of the red rooms would be okay for us at this point. I would even go for the, well, I don't know about the weight room, but I might go for it, given that it's a one-time thing, and we can get back steps with tomato soup, and maybe also the pizza, if we can get the dining room back at some point. The dark room, I would probably take the dark room here. Any of these rooms that would open up into more directions. The courtyard would obviously be a nice one. And we could afford it, I think. That's ultimately not a ton of options. That's not a ton of good reroll options. Which makes rerolling here feel not so valuable or not so great. Because we're potentially down to our last option in our draft. Outside of the pantry, right? If we decided to hoof it all the way back to the pantry, but then we would be drafting a dead end. And maybe I should have done that first. Gotten one of my dead ends out of the way in the pantry. We can always take the workshop and then hope to get something like, we could also add the west wing. Sorry, the east wing would get added to our pool. I'm assuming that either the east or the west wing halls, each of those have to be drafted in the far left or far right columns. So far, I don't think I've seen them offered outside of those for their respective side. And if we take the billiard room, because we're angling ourselves into that corner there, we're not leaving our options open. So maybe we take the workshop and we try to, like, we use the workshop essentially as a reroll. And we say, come hell or high water, I'm going to get myself, at the very least, a room that's facing into rank 6 at the next draft. I'll use both of my dice if I have to get something that gets me into rank 6. But ideally, we would want something that would get us to both rank 6 and rank 4. Let's do this. I'm not certain about this. This could go very wrong, but it is, I guess, the first time that we've drafted the workshop. So we can at least read our flavor text here. Springs, screws, and coils scattered atop the workbench show signs of this room's frequent use. A craftsman's studio dedicated to creativity and invention, this room was used by your uncle regularly whenever he needed to fix or improve a gadget or contraption. Okay, now it doesn't... Well, we need to look around and see. We need to look and see what it does. The true box does not always contain the prize. The true box does not always contain the prize. Oh God, is this an additional set of... My overcomplicated brain did not need to read this. I don't need to have anything more to think about when it comes to that parlor game. I feel like I've got it down. I don't... Maybe I should just delete that screenshot that I just took and forget it. It's not even worth thinking about. Are they going to give us any sort of... Oh, wait a second. Oh, there is an item to be found here. I don't know if this is guaranteed, but we did just pick up a sledgehammer. Not that we need it for opening up locked trunks when we have 7 keys. What the hell? There's an H on this piece of stone, supposedly for Herbert Sinclair. And there's also some sheet music. As my cat laser brain was starting, I saw the message. The word message here is highlighted. What's the full song? Why don't we check that out? Stones cut by hand and letters wrought do spell our secrets carved from thought. A message read is of 10 lost among the bold words spoken soft. The note is read, the letter is not. Okay, there are a lot of blanks there that feel like they need to be filled in. Somehow, some way, there are words that, or continuations of words that need to be filled here. There's the number 8 at the top. Messages in bold, is it not? Is there anything here that we would want to look at with the magnifying glass? We don't have it. I don't see anything, though, that if we did, we would want to look at. Okay, I can't actually interact with this bench. Combine inventory to create new items. Could I actually combine the sledgehammer and the battery pack? Excuse me? Plus, it's waiting for something else. Okay, I was going to say, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Okay. But it is giving me an idea, at least, of what items could potentially be combined. It's not, there's nothing to be done with the car keys or the secret garden key. That would have been surprising to me. Okay, there's not a lot we can do here right now because we need more items. The main point of this room was to get us through to the next. Deep breath. Hopefully, we get lucky here. We've got 2 dice as well to really help us get lucky. That's fine. Totally fine. Not using my special garden key here. Regular key only. Open the door. We do get a courtyard. Okay. It uses our last gem, but it's a room that goes in both directions. That's what I wanted to see. I will take my courtyard. Thank you very much. No dice needed here. Sigh of relief. I would love to have a shovel, but I do see there is a metal detector here. I do love it that this is a part of the game, and it's part of what makes it fun. These random elements of there may just be a super cool item all of a sudden in this room as well, in addition to the extra options that you get. Now, at the same time, there's a freaking security card. Electronic keycard door. God damn it. Now, fortunately, it's not in the rank 6 direction. So this is purely a greed option if and when we do get access to a key card, or we get access to the security room, which we had a chance to get at some point here. I had a chance to draft a security room, and we could have, theoretically, I think, deactivated this, right? That's really the strength of the security room. Or maybe, well, it's one of the strengths. Once you get that security room, you don't have to worry about the electronic key cards anymore. Except that's not true, right? It's only if you're able to deactivate the power. I'll have to think about whatever the min-maxing is supposed to be on that, but let's keep drafting. Do we take the gymnasium here? It gives us the most options, and I think we could bite the bullet, or we could take the boudoir. The upside for taking the gym here is tomato soup. Tomato soup is even better now. Tomato soup would give us 10 steps. We have 2 red rooms, right? And we still have 42 steps. Our main resource here that we're choked on is gems. That's the bottleneck at the moment. Could we find random gems in the boudoir? Maybe. But I do like that the gymnasium is options if you need it, and it synergizes with the tomato soup. Even though it's our only way at the moment back to both the garage and the entrance hall. That's a little bit unfortunate. But there's no way I'm ever redrawing the plans here, so it's just between the gym and the boudoir. Let's take the gym here. Might regret this, but we're going to take it. Do we find anything? Oh, we do get some sneakers. Okay, so we could recoup some of those steps. I wonder if the running shoes have maybe a stronger chance to appear in the... somehow I clicked out of my window here. I don't know how that happened. Maybe they have a stronger chance to appear in the gym. And there's some random coins here that somebody was shooting hoops and the change fell out of their pocket. Okay. Alrighty, so... I think that's it. And so now I think we draft to the left. Of course... Okay, there's no security doors to worry about. We have 6 keys, so any locks in our way are nothing. Oh, this is a new room. The problem is that it runs us into a wall. Actually, all of these run us into a wall. What the hell? It's a library, though. What does it do? Discover less common floor plans while drafting in the library. Oh, God. Well, that's such a waste. So the only thing we would be getting out of the library is whatever intel we can gather. I see in the little thumbnail there, you can see there's a note that's on the table in the middle. There's a couple open books. Always referencing back to Myst. But the library could be maybe the most important room in the entire estate. We could just take the guest bedroom here and say, yeah, whatever, I'm not going to use one of my 2 dice here to... But man, if we don't open this up, if we just settle for a dead end at this point, that's really, really limiting our options, isn't it? Isn't it? What would I be re-rolling for here? Now that we're at rank 6, we should have a lot more options available. So we could be re-rolling for the conference room. But I think only that would open up to the right, which would open up to rank 7. I'm looking at the right in the conference room, but I think that would point upward if this layout, if it doesn't spin it the way that I want it to. I actually don't know for sure which way it would spin it. Potentially could get the aquarium, potentially could get the dining room. But again, those are options that are only going to give us 1 door out. But maybe that's maybe that's all we get. Maybe we wouldn't even be offered something that gets us... I guess there's the rumpus room, but we don't have any gems. We need a gem for the rumpus room. The maid's chamber would buff our tomato soup. The drafting studio would be an improvement. Because that would take us... That would be one that has just the single door going straight across. The security room would be okay here, but we do need... Actually, I think we need a gem for the drafting studio as well as security, don't we? The drafting studio even actually costs 2 gems. The secret passage costs a gem as well. There's just not a lot of good stuff here to re-roll for. I think we have to bite the bullet and say, take the guest bedroom in this spot, and we go for broke going up through the gymnasium. And the guest bedroom is even not that fantastic because we're losing these steps entering and exiting the gym. But, you know, it is what it is. We might be getting unlucky this run, but I might also just be making some silly choices that, in retrospect, a more seasoned me down the road will look and say, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. Probably the case. Noob drafter at work here. I'm going to hold on to both of my dice. Could be greedy. But I'm going to take the guest bedroom. I just don't feel like there's many options that we could re-roll for in this spot. The other good thing about the guest bedroom that I had forgotten about is that it does potentially get us a gem. Okay, so that does open up options going into the next rank. So now the only question would be if we wanted to go back. I don't think it's important enough to go back to the workshop to try to figure out if we can combine the battery pack with the metal detector or maybe even the running shoes. Battery-powered running shoes. Oh boy, we're going to be flying around this place. I think it makes more sense for us to just go ahead and draft the let's draft this next door. And hope we don't get too unlucky. That's fine. Keys, no, not a problem. We got keys for days. Okay, there is both security and dining room and even dark room. So these are all rooms that would be good for us in terms of opening up options. Perfect. No need to use a reroll here. Now, what do we choose? The security door could potentially open up the door that's below the courtyard, but I think that's if we lose power. So I don't think the security room helps us, at least not enough to want to spend a gem on it. It feels, now that we're at rank 7, the dining room is all of a sudden much more enticing because we're going to get that benefit probably pretty soon. The dark room, now that I have been thinking about something when it comes to the dark room. We haven't talked about it much yet, but I think I have been noticing what feels like some patterns in the ordering of the options here in the draft menu. We'll maybe talk more about that at some point, perhaps when we're actually in the dark room. I mean, we could take a dark room here, but I feel like the dining room, when you have a dining room, you might as well take that over the dark room. But, you know, when you have tomato soup to think about, the thing is, we also get food from the dining room. So in this case, I think it's purely a better choice just to take the dining room and run. But if we have to take the dark room, I don't think I'm going to feel as sad about it because I don't think we are as in the dark when it comes to shooting for draft options. We'll talk about that when we get to the dark room, whenever that may be. For now, dining room. Now, do I take a step forward? I think we might go back to the workshop now and just see if anything that we have. Now that we know that we've got the dining room, steps are on the way, let's go back and just do a little bit of experimentation. Even if it seems unlikely for us to get much out of this, let's just see what we might be able to do. So, metal detector plus battery does nothing. It actually turned red. So that's not needed. Although when we did sledgehammer and battery pack, that was good. It said, oh, you're on the right track. But running shoes, not so much. I like how one of the shoes is over there in the vise. That's funny. So it kind of gives you a clue as to what combinations are meant to go together, I think. So can we combine the sledgehammer with anything? Sledgehammer plus running shoes makes no sense. Sledgehammer plus metal detector also. And if we try to combine all three of these things with sledgehammer, so what would sledgehammer plus battery pack go with? What would you possibly want? The compass? The magnifying glass? You want to be able to... What are we even powering with the battery pack? That's what's confusing me. We might not have the item yet that needs to go with this stuff. Let's take the... So did we try the battery pack with each one of these? We did. It looks like it only theoretically somehow goes with the sledgehammer and something else. The running shoes don't go with anything, and the metal detector doesn't really go with anything. Okay, so a slight waste of steps, but we did glean some intelligence, some intel as to what is possible in the workshop. Not a whole lot of intelligence, but some small modicum. The question now, which direction do we draft? Do we keep going to rank 8? Do we just... I would love to get... I just don't want to run into that same option that we had a moment ago, where we had the maid's chamber and the library, and we probably have other rooms. If we look at the room directory, we probably have other left-facing elbows that are available to us. Have we taken the billiard room yet? I don't think we have. So the billiard room is another one. There's a bunch, or at least there's some amount of left-facing elbows that we could dead-end ourselves with if we don't take another step or another rank forward. The rumpus room would be one that we would be fine going to the left with, but that's standard rarity and it costs a gem. Also, getting a left-facing elbow going up would also be a good option, like the office that we've drafted before up here. And once again, we could get something like the pool or the boiler room, any of these rooms that kind of feel like they are a natural fit for the eastern or right-hand side wall. So I think in this case, drafting up first is the one that makes more sense. We got keys for days. Let's keep using them and see what we get. Okay, so that worked out. The laboratory, huh? This is interesting. We do get the billiard room. We do get the billiard room here, and that could get us more gems, and that's really what I want to get. As curious as I am about the laboratory, it's a new room, as well as the library. We got the library offered again. Both of those show up here. So I'm curious to draft each of them for the first time. What are experimental house features? I'm curious to take the library, because discovering less common floor plans, I mean, that could be very nice. The problem is we only have one gem. So many of these rarer rooms that are really cool cost gems. And that's a bit of an issue for us at the moment. We could redraw. We've got 2 redraw options that we could be using in the library. So maybe for the sake of... The other thing is there could be valuable intelligence in the library. Safe codes. Who knows? A more seasoned drafter might say, take the gems here because you need them. And that's where even my noob drafter skills are going, or my noob drafting head is going. I think I am going to rule out the laboratory here just because I want to hold on to gems. I'm either going to get more gems, or I'm going to... The new room is going to be the library, and we're going to gain whatever intel we can there and see what options get offered. Let's do the library. It's new. It might be the smarter pick in the long run, might be the billiard room, but for the sake of discovery, and we still have options open to us through both the library and the dining room, we'll take the library here. Now, I could, if I wanted to, I could draft the dining room. I don't want to draft the dining room here, though. I don't want to draft this to the left, because I want to go into the library and draft out to the right and potentially open up like something like the passageway. Except I couldn't afford it. That's the only problem with one of these like 4-door rooms, is that they're so expensive. But I don't want to draft from the dining room to get another left-facing elbow room. So let's go into the library. And we get our dinner bell. That's another positive here. Are there stairs leading up? There's a second story in the library? Okay, time to explore. Because there could be, who knows, in a place like this, especially when there's dramatic music that is kicking into action. Could there be a secret book somewhere that activates? Push the right book, and all of a sudden, you are inside of the Mist Library Tower. Except we already drafted an observatory. It would be nice. I'm hoping that if there is a book that's supposed to be interacted with in some way. Don't look at the Z fighting, guys. Don't stare the Z fighting directly in the eyes, and it won't hurt you. But I'm hoping that if there is a book that is meant to be interacted with that opens up like a secret bookshelf or something, that it would be something that stands out. Seems like that kind of game so far. They're not going to do us like Myst, where you might have a book that's doesn't necessarily stand out and you have to mouse over every single... You got to pixel hunt. It's not a pixel hunting game, I don't get the sense, even though that's exactly what I'm doing right now. It feels like, hey, there's a book here. Oh, I thought there was going to be something to read in this book. Never mind. There's nothing even in that book, the one that's on the frickin' pedestal. The book stand. Blueprints. Look at this. Why does the antechamber here look like it's got like rows in a garden? Or rows that have been planted out in a field? Why does it look like that? Okay, here we go. Additional reading. The house directory is a great source, a great resource for information. If you wish to read more about a specific room in your house, press R to pull up the directory. We can just go straight there. Ah, shortcut. We haven't read about the library flavor text, so let's do that. 2 stories of wall-to-wall books surround the reader in this room, exhibiting either a bountiful spring of knowledge or typical interior design sensibilities of the wealthy. A few books have been withdrawn from the shelves and placed on rostrum stands in various corners of the library. Is that important? That they have been rostrum stands, by the way, is the name of these things. We can't interact with them at all, so I don't know that it is significant. I'm not seeing anything significant about the bookshelves, generally speaking. So what's on the table? There is a note here. Mount Holly Library Book Request Form in library use only. Number 124. Books and periodicals requested with this form will be pulled and available the next time you draft the library. Wait, we can select stuff here? Oh my god. This is a book request form that we can actually fill out. Oh my goodness. Drafting Strategy Architectural Digest Volume 3? Is there any reason why we would not want to draft all of these? We can only do one. And we give our signature. Only one of these, huh? So we have the Sightseer's Guide to Reddington by Andrew Darrell. We have Swimbird by our mom. we could read our mom's book, although I'm sure she's read it to us a million times, hasn't she? The Fixed Stars by Richard Witt. History of Orindia, Caleb Manning. EPCW Pump System User Manual. And Drafting Strategy Architectural Digest Volume 3. Oh my god. Don't have a great idea of what to draft here, or what to pick, what to request. My initial instinct here is just to get more drafting strategy, because these others, I don't quite know. The pump system could give us additional information about the pump room. We don't have the pump room now. Who knows when we'll get it again, although we were able to figure it out. For the most part, it felt like we had figured it out. These others, I really don't know how they would be useful to us. But maybe there's details in each of these books that are useful in some way that are just not apparent at the moment. Let's, before we, well, we can come back and change this, I suppose, before our run is over. So for now, let's leave that on drafting strategy. And if we find anything else that gives us the desire to change that, we can do it. Don't have to be locked into that. There is a book up here to check. Mount Holly Records. Let's go ahead and check that out. Temporal Records. Oh no, it's going to show my, oh my god. So there's some of this stuff, like 7 hours, 31 minutes, longest day. There's this is the thing, is that because of the restriction on not being able to save and quit, my recording here doesn't always happen all in one sitting. Like sometimes I have to like go do a workout or get lunch or something, like, so I might have to leave the game running while I'm doing that. And in one case, apparently I had to leave it running 7.5 hours because I just couldn't finish the run all at once. So there you go. Longest, these stats are not, they're kind of worthless. Throw these out. I'm more interested in like the steps taken. Keys turned, gems used, gold spent. Interesting that keys and gems are so even. Total stars 2. Draft records. Yeah, okay. Bedrooms, hallways, and red rooms are all pretty even. And then green rooms and shops are about half. Puzzle records, billiard rooms, dartboards, parlors. Oh, billiard. Oh, it's just showing billiard rooms and parlor rooms that have been drafted and then solved. I mean, is there ever going to be a time? Do you think they're ever going to be difficult enough where we wouldn't solve them? I think if like it'll be like what I was talking about earlier, where I'll screw up the logic on the parlor game and pick the wrong box because I wasn't paying attention. 2 upgrade discs found so far. Okay, all right. So some bookkeeping that is not super relevant. Some empty bookshelves here that have been boarded over. Why are some of the empty bookshelves boarded over and others are not? I don't know. Scrapbook. What is this? Oh. Now this could be interesting. Oh, but it's showing... Hold on. What is it showing here? Let me take some screenshots of... We have November 5th, Reddington Herald, the Baron of Mount Holly names nephew provisional heir. Okay, so this is... It is a screenshot of the little orchard that is locked outside of our tent by the campsite. And then another Reddington postcard, a picture of Herbert. And then a claim check, first item check. My first claim ticket, metal detector. My favorite floor plans, the den. Can't seem to ever pass it up. I see. Most drafted, chapel, pantry, and bedroom. Most paid for, courtyard, 4 gems. Drawing room, 4 gems. Cloister, 3 gems. Most time spent in the drawing room. It keeps track of the time that you've spent in each of these. Drawing room, office, and entrance hall. Once again, I think I went to lunch at one point in the office, and probably as well in the drawing room. So these stats are going to be a little bit skewed. Pay no attention to these. Contraptions I've made. Okay. So when we go into Tears of the Kingdom mode and start making a bunch of stuff that actually does make sense, we'll get to catalog that all here. Commissary receipt, gem pack, 10 gold, paid in full. Have a great day. Our largest purchase, the gem pack. Got it. Yeah, that's right. 10 gold for 4 gems, I think. Just a bunch of scrapbooking that we're doing here. Okay. Most avoided floor plans. Why have we been avoiding the nursery? Why? It's because it's a dead end, and I haven't wanted to put a dead end in a lot of places. But that nursery's upgraded now. We upgraded it last time, so the passageway is just expensive. I haven't necessarily been avoiding it. I just can't afford it whenever it shows up. That's the problem there. All right, so the library, honestly, it's kind of a feels bad. I was hoping we might get like some secrets, some codes or something. Now, maybe we will if we actually do request something that is like, maybe we'll get to request all of these eventually. I hope so. The above signee is responsible for all materials checked out using this form and understands new requests cannot be made on days in which a previously requested book or periodical has been pulled. I think that makes sense. It's just saying that you can't request the same book like 2 times in a row or something. So that's fine. We'll leave that on the drafting strategy, and we can still hopefully change that later if we need to. But I guess this is now we draft from this direction, correct? We could maybe go back to the dining room and get our food. Maybe we should just do that, get that out of the way, because maybe our path doesn't necessarily lead us back to the dining room, but it should, because eventually we want to leave and go donate our coins to the shrine. Let's think about how many steps that would take. If we were to go back now to the shrine, it would take us 1, 2, 3, 4 for the gym, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. The bedroom is free. 15, 16. And then outside is 17. Though going through the gate to get to the western grounds is 18. And then the shrine itself would be 19. So we need somewhere around 20 steps from here, unless we go out through the garage. That it could be a lot less if we get through the garage, but we do need to find the utility room at some point for that to happen. Let's draft from the library. We do get some new options. There actually is a servant's quarters. I think this is the first time we've seen this. It was mentioned in the drafting strategy book, but I thought it might have been talking about the maid's chamber. But there is actually a room called servant's quarters, which gives us a key for each bedroom in our house. Potentially powerful, but we still do have 4 keys. The office would have been nice, or it would have been okay, given that we've got a shrine We want to spread coins around the house. And we do have a metal detector to make that job easier. But we don't have gems. What is the freezer, though? This is the first time we've seen this. Freezes your accounts. Coins and gems will not reset at the end of the day, and they cannot be adjusted or used until tomorrow. Whoa. So you would not be able to, it would actually freeze your gem and coins total right now. And they could not be adjusted. So you wouldn't be able to pick up coins or gems either. The freezer could potentially be very powerful if you are right at the end of a run and you really don't have anything else to use your coins or gems on. Obviously, that would be very powerful to carry them over to the next day. But you are precluding yourself from spending or gaining any more this day. That's a pretty big downside at this point in our run, especially when we have a shrine that we already want to spend our coins on. So I don't think it's the freezer here, and I don't think it's the servants' quarters, and it's not the office, so it's a reroll. It's a reroll, I think. I don't really want the servants' quarters because then we're down to just the dining room is our only option left. We're going to, I think, do a redraw here. Don't love it, but we still have another die. Conference room. That's the one. We don't have to spend any gems. It opens up 2 paths for us. And if we end up getting the office or something at some point, we get all our money in one place. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Conference room. The commissary. I'm okay holding on to my gem for now. One of these days, we will try the laundry room. We've got both the laundry room and the locksmith that I think are a little bit more rare, and we haven't drafted them yet, but we're not drafting a dead end here. Conference room, go. Now where do we draft? If we're wanting to, this is where I probably do need to think a little bit about what's left in my pool. Let's actually, before we do that, let's just check the conference room because maybe there's a chance, I suppose, there would be gems in the conference room. We've got this red note, which is the same as before. There is a security door. There's a security door to the north, so that might simplify things. That's another reason to go into the room and just potentially simplify your decision-making process. So now it's really down to a choice of whether we draft from the conference room or from the dining room. And I think that is an important choice because of the way that rooms are shaped. So this is where it's important to know what options would actually get you out into the rest of the house. If we draft from the conference room, we would need to go to the right. Theoretically, the pool is an option. Security would be another one that would get us there. The aquarium as well, but that's unusual. The only hallway that's of interest is the secret passage, I think, and that one would only work for us if we're drafting it from the dining room. We've already drafted the courtyard, and we can't afford the cloister. It would really be these red rooms, wouldn't it? Like the dark room, the weight room. That's a reason not to eat, right? That would be a reason to not eat your meal, is to get the weight room out of the way first and then do your post-workout meal. The archives, at least you don't have to pay a gem for these red rooms. And then rooms that would be good for us from the dining room are also actually pretty seldom, or I should say scarce. The rumpus room would be one of them. The boiler room, I guess. And like we said, the secret passage. Because really, if you're going to get a red room, it makes a lot more sense to get it from here. So I think the correct choice is to draft from the conference room as opposed to the dining room. And you know, that might just be the end of our run, but we do have one more die left. So This is really it, guys. Do or die. Haha. See, if they can make the bad puns, then so can we. Yes, please use. I have 4 keys left. I don't need the keys. Shit. Wait a minute. They gave us a billiard room. That was one possibility that I did not think about. I thought I saw the rumpus room and I thought, shit, I should have been in the dining room. The office doesn't work. We can't even afford it. The billiard room is perfect. That's actually what we needed. And we got kind of rewarded. I really, in retrospect, the billiard room would have been much, much better to take from the, actually, where did I pass up on the billiard room? Did I pass up on it here? Or was it where the library was? I'm not sure now. I feel like I passed up on it when we had the library. And it was actually pointing to the left. So we could have taken and gotten some gems, most likely. Or a shot at gems, at least. We're taking the billiard room here, for sure. Because I want to keep drafting. And it potentially gives us gems. No metal detector going off, so in this case, it sounds like no coins to be picked up anywhere, unless they got gems stashed under the counter. Otherwise, we're playing darts. Dart game, go. 2 times 6 is 12. 5 minus 1, we do the subtraction first, right? So we get 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then we have 7 minus 3 is 4 times 5 is 20. Divided by, I almost missed the divided by 2 is 10. Boom. Gotta look for them all. Unfortunately, we do get keys. Oh my god. I need gems, guys. I need gems. Now watch. This is where the game will say, okay, you want gems? I'll give you a wine cellar. As your last option on the face of the earth, you're gonna get a freaking wine cellar. All right, we have the dining room to come back to replenish our steps to get us out of here when we inevitably do crash and burn. So let's see if that happens this time. Security? Security? Oh my god. Security actually gets us out. They are offering us the utility closet, but that would be only for getting out through the garage, which we don't need to do just yet. The garage gets us to the shrine, but we're not that desperate for steps, and I don't need the bunk room for sure. So this is a pretty easy security, right? Does use our last gem, which I hate to do, but I also hate to use my last die. I feel like the die, especially your last one, you save that for when you just have no options left. When the game is saying, literally, you're not going to get to draft anymore. That's when you use the reroll. That's my gut, at least. Could be wrong. Security. Let's check it. We will potentially get an answer to our question about whether the keycard system persists. The key... Oh! Wait a minute. The security system deactivates the key cards. The security system deactivates key cards. Why did I think it was something else? Have I been completely... We set this to high, didn't we? I'm very confused at the moment because I feel like I had read this offline mode. It determines the default setting the security doors will be set to if power is lost. Okay, I did read that correctly. So as a general safety rule, offline mode should be set to unlocked if any staff are working on the estate. And we did, I think, set it to unlocked previously, and now it's back to locked. So this, unlike the pump system or the pump room, the security settings, the keycard system settings, do revert to their original state. I meant to change that. Why am I not changing that? There we go. unlocked. And we're going to set the security level to low for now because we have no key card. So we don't want to spawn any more doors if we can help it. And then it says the keycard system is currently operational. It's not that... Okay, I got confused for a second because I thought that this terminal would let us deactivate the keycard system. I think what it's going to do is if we do get the utility room now at some point, now we can turn the power off theoretically and deactivate the keycard system. I think, but I still might be so freaking confused. Is there any inventory anywhere that we haven't picked up? No. Okay, there we go. We still don't know the password to log into the network, so nothing else to find there. Let's keep it moving. Nothing new on the board other than the randomized sketches. Would love to see if we can get a magnifying glass and take a closer look at this guy. Because it seems like it could be, it's scribbled out here, but maybe upon closer examination, it might be legible. Okay, so now where do we go from here? Do we go to the left? Or do we try to draft... Do we try to draft down and get one of our dead ends out of the way? It might still be best to draft out into the room that has the most options. Try to draft leftward. Which is this door here. I think that makes sense. Try to draft to where you've got the most options, right? Because if you do get lucky... I have no gems is the problem. I have no gems. So I would love to get a wine cellar. And if I get a wine cellar, I would want to put it here. Not... I would want to put it down, not to the left. Should we do that? Try to get lucky and get a wine cellar? Or is there any other thing that I could potentially get that would get me gems? Now that we've done both of our puzzle games. We've done the storehouse. We have not done the walk-in closet. We have done the regular closet. Patio would spread gems to each green room, but we only have the courtyard. We could potentially get a commissary. Commissary would buy gems. And if we did get that, it is common. Or no, it's actually standard. But we don't have gems to even buy the commissary. That's the problem. So if we ignore... Like, we can't reliably... count on something like the wine cellar because it's unusual rarity. I think we should be... It's more likely, much more likely, I think, that we're going to see rooms that are standard, like the walk-in closet, or commonplace. So if we just think about standard or commonplace, what do we have available? The walk-in closet, but that costs a gem. I didn't even think about the fact that it costs a gem. We have 0 gems, so we can't even think about rooms that we have to spend gems on. So out of those rooms that are left, like the rumpus room also costs a gem, so that one's not an option. We would have the utility closet. The coat check, I guess, is standard. I guess we still have the boudoir as well. And then it's basically red rooms, like... Well, the only ones that are, there's the lavatory that's standard. And then there's the dark room and it's just the dark room. The archives is unusual. The weight room is rare. The maid's chamber is unusual. So there's really not that many rooms left that are super useful if we want to draft to the left out into the open, right? So maybe it's correct for us to take the chance first here by drafting to the left. And, I've been mulling this over. This is probably not this important of a decision, but I've been mulling it over for several minutes now because I'm just not sure which way to go. I suppose if we do think about rooms that are unusual, if we do get lucky, obviously the luckiest room would be getting the wine cellar. There's just not that many great options overall. Nothing about this draft has felt amazing. We're just in one of these spots where it's just, you know, things aren't quite lining up the way you want. So maybe the world that we live in here is we try to get lucky by drafting the wine cellar down from the security room. We got keys. Use the keys. No problem there. Okay. The darkroom faces the absolute worst possible direction. Why does it point the darkroom that way? It's like, you do not want to take the darkroom here, my dude. You want to take the bunk room. Because you have to throw one of your dead ends out of your pool. You have to get that out of the pool of rooms that's left so that when you do go to draft to the left of the security room, you can settle for the dark room, which would probably get you 2 more rooms, even if you can't see them. So we're not going to use our die here because we're not that desperate just yet. But we are going to take the bunk room and hope maybe similar to the guest bedroom, there could be a gem stashed away in here. Maybe. Not 1, but 2 gems. Oh, okay. This is something that we do have to keep in mind with bedrooms. They do have a chance, it seems like a pretty strong chance, of having gems. At least the guest bedroom, and now, I don't know, I feel like we had keys before in here, didn't we? We got lucky with some keys. I think the bunk room in 2 different cases now, maybe both of the times that we've drafted it, has left us feeling very lucky. Oh man, that's such a good, amazing feeling. Okay, we don't know yet if the turtles of Vera are of any importance to us. And I don't think I see any other items that can be picked up here. So, holy crap, that feels so good. Even if we don't have any other bedroom synergies going for us, like the nursery or anything like that. Hello, hi little hamster. We are so happy right now. I hope you're just as happy as we are. Because, did you find those gems for us? Did you leave those around? Ooh. Okay. Now. Okay, some new life potentially. Both of the doors, the other options that are left to us here outside of the security room have security doors on them, right? We've deactivated, or we've turned the state to unlocked in the security terminal. So if we are able to deactivate the power now, those doors could be drafted as well. But for now, we want to head out into the open. And this is where we are going to settle for the dark room. We don't need keys, that's for sure. And we definitely don't need no damn laboratory. So I think this is our opportunity to talk a little bit about the dark room. Because one of the things that the dark room does is it tells you, even if it blanks out the images, it does tell you if there are gem requirements to be had. So we might need to do a little bit of thinking beforehand to remind ourselves which rooms cost gems and which ones don't. But I have been doing that already here with the room directory as I've been mulling over this previous decision. So I think I do not want to use my die here. We get synergy with tomato soup, so there's that as well. So let's take the dark room and let's have a little fun, question mark. So now we can spend a little bit of time thinking about whether we want to draft down or up. Sorry, down or to the left. It might be, let's think about this. Let's think it through. Let's go through the room directory using the R key here. And now that we have gems, we can actually consider rooms that have multiple doors. Finally, we can think about things that we can afford again. It's amazing how that works. The office is something we could afford now, and it does have 2 gems. So if we see an offering that's 2 gems, the office could be one of those. What other 2 gem options are there? The drafting studio, but it is rare. So the office is much more likely to be the 2 gem option, I think, if we see it. The boiler room is only 1. We've already drafted security. The pool is 1. Let's just go through these systematically here. The walk-in closet is a gem. The rumpus room costs a gem. If we got the rumpus room, we would rather that go down. If we got the office, on the other hand, we would rather that be drafted to the left, even though that would cut us off. That would completely cut us off from the antechamber, but I feel like we're not either getting to the antechamber, or if we do, it's not going to be open. Like, I've kind of given up on hope for that much here. So I'm just trying to draft as many rooms as I can at this point. I almost don't even care what direction we go in. Like, I would kind of be fine with getting something like a mail room and dead-ending our run if it means powering up tomorrow's. Or even a coat check. Okay, continuing through the gem options, though. We've already drafted the drawing room. The pool costs a gem, and that would be much better if we drafted it to the left. Yeah, that the way the map lays out, that definitely is better if we draft it to the left. The boiler room is also probably better if we draft to the left. I'm just still looking at the gem, the ones that cost gems, those options. Aquarium would be better to the left. Patio would be better to the left as well. If we somehow got super lucky, well, we don't have 3 gems, so it would not be super lucky to get the cloister offered, but it would be interesting. You would be able to see that, oh, there's a 3-gem option in the dark room. What the hell? The 2 shops would both be better if we were facing to the left. So if we're determined to pick the gem option out of our darkroom choices, it feels like drafting on the left-hand side of the room would be a much better choice. Another thing to potentially consider is the ordering of these darkroom choices, because what I've been noticing so far in my very small amount of draft experience, what I have been noticing, it does seem, if I go to my notes and just kind of glance through the offerings, this is not a foolproof thing by any stretch, but for example, the West Wing Hall, which we could potentially get if we draft to the left. If I look at my notes, I've just briefly been noting like where a couple of the sample drafts, or what am I trying to say here? I've been taking note of when like in the first couple drafts, when and where did I see each of the hallways offered. And the West Wing, I've only have one note for it here, and it showed up in the middle option. But I have noticed that the hallway itself seems to always show up as the right-hand option. Maybe that was just lucky. I only have 4 samples to go off of there. But it could be, I've also noticed that stuff like the lavatory seems to show up almost always on the left. So it seems as though there is some sort of, it's not a uniform distribution when it comes to the way that the left, middle, and right options in a draft show up. I don't know what it is yet. I haven't quite figured out the pattern, but there does seem to be, it's not just completely random. You are getting some rooms that are showing up on one side more often than the others. It seems like maybe one consistency. Well, it's not really even a consistency, but one thing that could be in play is that the right-hand option is more likely to have more doors than the option that's on the left. The left-handed option seems more likely to be a dead end or a room with less doors. That's not super consistent because I think things like whether the room contains, some sort of effect, like it affects your draft tomorrow, or it contains gems or some other item. I think that also affects where that room ends up in the set of choices here. All that to say, though, is that drafting in the darkroom, where I was joking about it previously, is not completely random. There is, I think, you can give yourself a leg up if you have some experience in knowing what shows up where. And hopefully that experience, we will get more experience with that over time, of course. So I think where I want to try drafting first here is to the right. And if there's a gem option, are we saying that we take the gem option for sure? I think so. I think we take the gem option because, what's my reasoning there for that? My indecision here is palpable. I mean, there are some gem options that would just straight up dead end us, but they would dead end us in either direction. So that was my rationale here, is that, you know, there's a good chance we dead end ourselves coming out of the dark room. If I'm going to give myself the best chance to not dead end myself, maybe it's by drafting a gem, spending gems on a room, or picking the right-handmost option and hoping something like the West Wing Hall shows up there. Because it seems like hallways tend to show up more on the right-hand side than they do on the left. Shops also tend to show up more, I think, more likely to show up on the right compared to the left. And if we're going to I feel like we're going to take the right-handmost option almost no matter what here. And I want it to happen from the left-hand door, if nothing else for science, to see what happens. So let's do it. We got to use a key, but that's fine. We got keys. There's no problem there. Aha, there is a gem requirement. Could be a kitchen, could be a commissary. It's not going to be a West Wing Hall. That would be like the best option. It would be super sick if there's like a West Wing Hall right here, and we could take the middle option and just say, hey, the rest of my draft is open up to me. And maybe I do that. I could take that risk. Interestingly, does it not let you redraw the floor plans? Oh, it does. It looked like the die was blacked out for a moment, but I suppose it makes sense that it would let you redraw, because you might say, well, I want to get rid of this one that has the gem requirement here and just give me some new options. The more I think about it, I think I'm going to actually pass on the gem required one, because I think there's actually a very strong chance that this is either a kitchen or a commissary. And because we have the shrine outside, I'd rather save my coins. And it feels like this run is it's not getting there anyways. And I would love to live in the world where I'm like super lucky and I get a West Wing Hall by picking this middle option here. So I'm going to roll the dice. I'm not literally rolling the dice because I still have my redraw floor plans that I've not used yet. But I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice here and see what happens. There you go. We, just as planned, ended up with a furnace. So, yeah. Okay. That's what you get sometimes when you gamble. Interestingly, there's a patch of dirt in this furnace that I would not have remembered. Okay, so this is the second time that we have ended up in the furnace. There you go. All right, so now that is going to make it basically a guarantee that we get back to the shrine, I think, no matter what. Because we drafted a furnace, which means we now get the pizza, don't we? We have the pizza in the dining room, and we get 10 extra steps. So we can go wherever we want, but the only problem is we're about to be potentially out of options here if we don't draft correctly with this next option. So this is our last option here, theoretically. So I might even spend a little bit more time than I have been already, as much as overthinking as I have been doing. But let's take a look here. Aha! There is one that has 2 gems that we could spend. So let's think about the 2 gem options. One of them is the office, correct? And maybe it's a good option to take the office just because you get an upgrade disc. Even if you can't go anywhere else from the office because it would be a dead end, you might get an upgrade disc. And that's a permanent upgrade. Because that's what an upgrade disc does. Duh. What else costs 2 gems? That we know about, at least. The drafting studio? That would also be a good one, because that would be a permanent upgrade. Or a permanent thing that's added to our pool. It's maybe debatable as to whether or not it's an upgrade. Now, of course, there could be a completely new room that we've never drafted before, because we've just never, the 2 gem rooms are on the rarer side. So I think I'm okay with just taking, this is probably taking the L in terms of the rest of your draft playing out, but this might be the best option to permanently upgrade our progress moving forward. Now, the single gem options, there are some that could get us progress forward, but I think they're pretty rare. One of them would be the aquarium. That would get us another door that goes out to the west. But the boiler room, I think, would dead end us based on how it's arranged in the screenshot that I'm looking at. The pool, I guess, would get us out there to the west. But the kitchen is commonplace and the commissary is standard. And I just feel like those are the more likely options to be showing up here. So because of the potential for permanent upgrade and maybe also getting a new room that we've never seen before, let's go with... This is potentially our last room in the game, and our last room in this run on this day, and I would hate to not spend the 2 gems that we just got lucky getting and get something out of them, right? Even if it means we don't get to draft anymore. Even if it means we don't get to draft no more. I haven't been looking at my map there. But I've had a mental picture of where in my mind I wanted to go with this. So let's see what happens. We do get the office, it looks like. Correct? It is the office. It just looked a little different at first because it's away from the corner. Did we have it up in the corner last time? I think we did. There was at least a window. We had it on the eastern side, and so it had a window as part of its decor. No window this time. But do we get an upgrade disc? It looks like we don't. We do not get an upgrade disc. We do get this note that we get to look at again. And I had thought about, do we need to order or request one of the books from the library that matches one of the books here? But I don't think any of these are the same. I feel like this potentially makes more sense now. I think we talked about this before, but this note here could mean now something... I don't know for sure, but it feels like what it's trying to tell us is that we need to draft the greenhouse room and have that item that they've given us a couple times, the lever. Is it called a broken lever? See, why would you... This is where my confusion or my uncertainty comes in, is why would I use a broken lever to fix a broken lever in the greenhouse? I don't know if that quite adds up. Maybe we need to take the broken lever and like combine it with something in the workshop, and that gets us the item that we need. There's still potentially some work to be done there. Darn, that's unfortunate that the upgrade disc... I had a feeling it wouldn't be guaranteed, but I was certainly hoping that we might... Wait a minute! Wait a minute! The office actually points in the right direction. It actually... We're not done yet, folks. We ain't done yet. Oh my god. And we might even get some coins. That was the other thing I forgot about. We can spread coins, right? I don't think we can do payroll because payroll's already been run, correct? That's already been run. However, we can spread gold again, can we not? Yes. And then it goes to the conference room, which we actually have. Yes. Okay. Not bad. So that's something. And then we still get to draft. Wow. It actually rotated the office in a way that I wasn't expecting. Okay, I got lots to learn still. Now I will draft this, obviously. And we'll use our regular key. Because I don't want to... If I'm going to do anything with my special key, I'm going to save it in a code check, potentially. Okay. Let's look at our map here. This is the end of the road. Unless we reroll. So I think we reroll. I don't see any reason to use the maid's chamber here. And I certainly don't want to dead end us with any of these others. So pretty easy reroll here. And we're stuck. But we get the code check that we were looking for. Now, with that said, we have a utility closet. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. We have a utility closet. And we have 4 red rooms now. We're much healthier on steps than... We could get a lot more steps still, right? We've got the dining room, which is buffed due to the furnace and the pizza synergy. And we have tomato soup still. We're not even close to being out of steps. So giving ourselves as many draft options as possible still is a good idea, I think. My only hesitancy here is, let me check my screenshot for the closet. Because I want to just see what was written. Maybe I might be misunderstanding what is supposed to happen. Oh, that's right. There's specifically a keycard entry system switch in the utility closet. I got confused for a second because the stuff listed at the bottom of the closet. Okay, we're going to take the utility closet here. I think this is the right choice. I could be misreading this, but I think this makes sense. And we're going to go ahead and switch this off. Boom. I had some misgiving here because we've got both these 3 items listed at the bottom. There's a cabinet as well, which I don't know if we can do anything with. But I thought gymnasium, darkroom, garage. Those have nothing to do with the security card system. Why am I thinking I can turn that off? It's because it has its own separate entry. Do I have any reason to disable the garage? Or, I mean, I might as well turn it on if we're here, right? There you go. I don't know what this vac indicators thing does. Let me check my notes again for the mailroom. Utility room fuse box, something indicator settings. And it says more detailed instructions will be sent via email. Maybe we need to do find whoever's email is associated with this in order to learn more about the VAC, the anti-cheat indicators. But otherwise, I don't know what to do with those. So for now, we've disabled the security card system, though. And so we've got more options to draft, I think. And we're actually maybe able to use these keys. Okay, let's go to the conference room, and we pick up our coins, and we also draft. Because who knows, maybe we can actually still technically get to the antechamber, or we can get adjacent to it. Because, oh my god, the metal detector's going crazy. Look at all these coins. Holy shit. Yo, we have so many fucking coins. We might even be able, like, theoretically, we could coat check. Well, we have to get the coat check offered to us. We've passed up on it a couple times now. But theoretically, we could buy something from a shop, coat check it, and still have maybe plenty to donate to the shrine. Okay, 45 coins. We're rich. Holy crap, we're rich. All right, I think though this means we can draft this now, correct? We can. Amazing. And we do actually get the aquarium, but we have no gems. Fuck. So, okay. Interestingly, the security card system, the rarity indicator is gone. Not that that matters in this case, but it's another instance if we had drafted the archives like we did that one run, then we could use the rarity indicator to help narrow down the possibilities of the blanked out option. But in this case, this feels like a pretty easy boudoir. We have no more rerolls left, so we might as well keep on drafting. Let's do it. And we have plenty of steps. Just double checking. Anything laying around. Still don't know the combination to the safe here. So we keep on drafting. And if we have to use keys, we use them. Because why not? Oh, okay. They're offering us the freezer again. They're offering us the freezer again, but we also have the coat check. And I kind of want to go dump all my coins into the shrine. I already have something to do with my coins. So I'm going to stick with the game plan here. I'm curious about this freezer, but I think the coat check is the correct one here. I think we might even utilize it while we're on this side of the map. The question is, what do we check in? I think I might want to check in the garden key, but I'm not sure. We actually have several things. The metal detector has been useful, but I feel like it's less necessary than when I first started out. The car keys could be a good one to check, but the secret garden key feels much more rare, even though we've got it twice now. And if the effect of this is to get us to the cloister, then I think it makes sense to check this. Let's do it. So that is our checked item, and obligatory screenshots here. And now the only room that we have left to draft is the courtyard. Is there anything else that we do before that? We grab our meal at the dining room, right? And that's pretty much going to be winding down our day, because there's only 2 potential more rooms to draft in the entire place. So, and let's get our super look at the detail, the scintillating, mouth-watering, realistic textures of this wood-fired pizza. All right, let's go. Give me those 30 steps. Chow down. Why did we leave a slice there? Okay, apparently we are very, very full. So, okay, we've got plenty of steps. Unfortunately, we're just out of rooms. Out of rooms to draft, which is sad. It's always sad when your draft comes to an end, but you know, it just means that you're that much closer to a new draft. There's an East Wing Hall and a secret passage, but in this case, we have no gems. And also the secret passage, I think, would go to a dead end. So the only one that makes any sense here is the East Wing Hall. Take that. And then we hope for... The best option here would be either the sauna or the... We can't get the sauna, though, because we didn't draft the pool. But we could draft the mailroom, which would be sweet. Unfortunately, we get none of these. Unfortunately, we get crap. We get crapola. So, all right. We'll take the archives because none of these are useful, and I don't want to lose my steps just in case. So, so there we go. Now we could check. We will check in here just in case there's anything that could be of, like, there could be an item. Theoretically, there could be an item that you'd want to coat check, even though it's pretty rare, supposedly, to get items in the red rooms. We can take another look at our news articles here, but we know that, yeah, the picture book Swimbird won her the literary medal. So that could make it worth checking after the draft volume, the draft strategy volume 3. I suppose on our way out, we can also experiment in the workshop once again, although we didn't really get anything new, did we? So we still have the same options as before. So the workshop turned out to be a bust as well, just kind of like this this entire run. Double checking to make oh, you know, there is one room left, isn't there? There's the pantry. We did not draft out of the pantry, and I think we might as well on our way out. We should have the steps here, but yeah, we're pretty close to wrapping things up. We'll just get this one last room out of the way. And we have running shoes to conserve steps as well, so I don't think we need to worry about grabbing a banana or anything like that, even though the tomato soup could be fun because we've had so many red rooms. How many red rooms do we actually have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would give us 25 extra steps. Boy, red soup can get pretty... Red soup? Tomato soup can get pretty overpowered. in the right circumstances. In this case, though, I'm saving my coins because they are... Every single one of them, except for what I got to spend to go through the chapel, is going to go to that shrine. We are going to power up that shrine. The most OP shrine you can ever think of. All right, one last chance to get the mailroom here. The mailroom would be freaking awesome. Oh, and we did get an archived floor plan. I forgot we added the archives. So, could it be the mailroom? Mailroom, please! A lavatory. God damn it. Is there anything in the lavatory? We know that there's a rare, seldom chance to get items in these red rooms. So, so it does look like that is where we're going to wrap up this installment of Blueprints. If you did enjoy the video, thank you for hanging out with me till the end. And if you did enjoy the video, do consider doing the YouTube thing and hitting all those buttons down below. You're going to have runs like this in anytime you're drafting a deck or drafting in general, drafting those floor plans. They're just sometimes not going to come together. And we definitely, this was the outside of the first run, which just, you know, face planted before it ever got off the ground. But that's because I had no idea what I was doing. Now that I've got a little bit of experience, you know, getting this sort of a run does naturally feel a little bit bad, but it's just the nature of the beast and why it's so much fun, because you love rolling the dice, you love seeing what exactly each new draft has to offer, and it makes it so much more exciting when it does actually come together. So for now, we will go ahead and can I just press down to I was thinking maybe it would get me directly to 44 instead of having to, oh, I can hold down the arrow keys. There we go. I don't see any reason not to do this. I think, small little optimization here. If we do not have access to the shrine, if you wanted to drain, or I guess at this point, refill the fountain, because right now the fountain is drained, I think it might actually save the coins. When we make a wish, when we were making a wish, eventually when we drained that fountain, there were several coins to pick up. I think those were probably the coins that we were wishing with. So that was our way to kind of like bank our coins, a very inefficient way because you had to go through so much trouble just to withdraw the coins. I'll be very curious to see what this does, but this, a beneficial blessing that will last for several days. Maybe. It does say may result. So who knows? This may do absolutely nothing, but hey, these coins are just going to sit there and go completely to waste otherwise, so we might as well do it, right? Let's do it. And then the last thing, oh, it actually does tell us. You have received the blessing of the chef. For each different type of spread that you do each day, add an extra dish to the dining room. Blessing duration 5 days. What does that mean for each different type of spread? Does it explain that? Can I click on that anywhere? Where's my mouse? I guess I don't have a mouse at the moment. So we'll find out exactly what spread means eventually. I'm in a little bit of an awkward state here because my mouse, there it is. It for some reason had clicked outside of the window and wasn't having an effect. We got out of it, and the spread. I always want to know these details. I want to know exactly what spread means, because initially, maybe it's a very simple thing that I'm overlooking. Initially, though, I don't get it. I don't know what it means. I don't see any reason to go down to the bottom of the well. However, we do have a sledgehammer, and I had speculated before. What if the sledgehammer allows us to break through some boards? Damn it. What if the sledgehammer... Oh, there were birdies in that bird bath. I don't think they were there before. We scared them off, but okay. Ah, right. The last time we came back to the boxes down here in the dark tunnel, we saw some stuff that we didn't really want to see. Is there any chance, would they ever let us break these with a sledgehammer? It doesn't look like it. There's got to be some way to maneuver these boxes out of our way. Maybe we get a forklift. Could we find some forklift keys and perhaps unlock that ability? But yeah, that's where we will wrap it up. Day 5 is at an end. I think we will, if there's nothing last minute here that I can think of that we would want to do. Oh, I get it now. They do explain the blessing of the chef a little differently in this menu. This is all I needed. I just needed the arrows next to spread. The spread keyword. I was thinking in food terms. Maybe I'm hungry. But I was thinking like, you know, butter. You spread butter on bread. Or you spread jam on bread. And I was like, do we have to like order different things from the kitchen in order to add an extra dish to the dining room? No. It's every time that you spread shit around the mansion. Duh. That's what spread means. It actually took us to the courtyard. Why did it do that? Oh, because it was underneath. That wasn't clicking on spread. That was clicking on courtyard. Why did they just needed to add little arrow? That's all my brain needed to clear that up. That's a sweet buff though. 5 days. That's awesome. Okay, I can't think of anything else that I want to take care of. I think we've done it all. Let's go ahead and call it a day and get to our ending screen here and take a look at our summary. Do we get any special flavor for being so fast? Yes. I was thinking the flavor is probably going to have something to do with red rooms. And in fact, we got a red manor. Apparently, at least having 6 red rooms gets you a red manor. We reached 36 rooms. We only found 3 new rooms, but eventually you're going to start running out of new rooms, so that's to be expected. Only 8 items found this time, even though we did manage to reach rank 9, but never felt like we were going to come close to getting into that antechamber. Just didn't quite get things to line up this time. But that's why the next day is going to be so exciting, because maybe it will all line up for us then. Excited to see about this new book that we've got on the way from the library. This new buff that we're going to have for the next few days from the shrine is pretty sweet. And we have a cool key waiting for us in the coat check if we can manage to draft that again. So much fun stuff to look forward to next time. Thank you all very much for joining me, and I hope to see you in the next one.